Meanwhile, here at home, we are following the trial of the three white men who were accused of killing a black man in Georgia. The trial in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery is now entering its first full week after last week's opening statements. And there's still criticism looming over that jury selection. Only one of the jurors selected was black. NBC News correspondent Ron Allen is outside that courthouse in Brunswick, Georgia. Ron, first off, what's happening inside the courtroom right behind you?
The prosecutors are questioning police officers and investigators who arrived at the scene. They're trying to get evidence of crime scene photos, videotape, into evidence that the jury can look at to recreate essentially what happened. Of course, Ahmaud Arbery is not here to testify and give his version of events, so the prosecutors are trying to let the police do that by explaining what they saw, and they're also asking the police about statements that the defendants made early on at the scene, because it's unlikely the defendants will testify. The defendants maintain that they were trying to effect a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud Arbery and that they believed that he had committed a crime. And one of the prosecutors was asking one of the officers about that and what was said at the crime scene. And here's an example of the kind of exchange we've been hearing throughout the morning. Take a listen.
Did Brian ever say he was trying to make a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud?
No, ma'am.
Did Brian ever say he was trying to arrest Ahmaud for criminal trespass?
No, ma'am.
Loitering?
No, ma'am.
Burglary?
Didn't mention it. No.
Attempted burglary?
No, ma'am.
Aggravated assault?
No.
Anything?
No, ma'am.
Brian, of course, is one of the defendants, the neighbor who took the videotape and was the third person in the pursuit of Arbery. That's who the questions were about. And we expect this to continue into the afternoon. We're at a break for lunch right now, though. Morgan?
Ron, I just want to ask really briefly before we let you go, when we talk about the jury selection and the fact that only one of those jurors is black, despite the demographics of that area in Georgia, can you describe the way that the community is reacting to that jury selection and to the larger theme of race, which has been front and center, first in the accusations, but now, as you mentioned, in the trial?
Well, a few things. I think people now understand this is the jury that's there, so it's not going to change. So the prosecutors have to deal with it. Many people feel like this is not a surprise because they say that racism is alive and well in this particular part of Georgia, this particular part of the country. I remember talking to some of the family members, and they said they weren't shocked at all that this is what happened. But they're, of course, going forward with the case and trying to make the best of it, and we'll see where this all lands. You know, there's been some discussion in other circles about what this says about the criminal justice system. The defense lawyers were able to create this kind of jury in a process that many people say is flawed, and then there's also been a lot of talk about that. But for now, you have to deal with the jury you've got, and so that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's really hard to hear about just that feeling of resignation coming from an entire community. Ron Allen, there for us on the ground in Georgia. Ron, thank you for being there.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.